I obviously did not understand the new CBA. Like I didn't. I misunderstood it obviously because I thought that it was going to be harder than ever to get free agents, for them to leave, for them to go to bigger teams because of the first apron, second apron, them having to try to retain players. I thought there wasn't. I thought it was going to be a crazy free agency, but only because some of the lower level teams and like the Rockets or the Spurs that had a lot of the Pacers that had a lot of cap space, I thought that they would it would be tough for them to, or it would be easier for them to get big players because the bigger teams like the Golden State Warriors, like the Clippers, like the Lakers, like the Milwaukee Bucks, they didn't have money. Obviously, I was wrong because there has been movement everywhere. Like teams have been getting free agent after free agent, and I think the first day like over $1 billion was spent, or maybe the first hour, like that. It's and free agency has been. I don't know. Again, I obviously don't understand what's going on with the new CBA, but yeah. So let me talk about some winners and losers from free agency so far. Of course, free agency is still going on. There are still some very impactful names that aren't on a team. But let me talk about some winners and some losers. Let me first start with the winners. I'm going to talk about 5 winners and 5 losers. And first, of course, I'm going to talk about the Lakers. Do I think that I think the Lakers are a big winner because of what they were able to get and what they were able to retain. They were able to retain D'Angelo Russell. They were able to retain Austin Reeves. They were able to retain Rui Hachimura while being able to get a Gabe Vincent, while being able to get a Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes. Now, I don't think that, those names are moving the needle outside of Rui and Austin Reeves. I don't think that a Gabe Vincent is really moving the needle, even though he had a really good run with Miami last year. I don't think Jackson Hayes is moving the needle, especially when you just had Mo Bamba. But what I will say is the Lakers are better now than they were when the season ended. I don't know if they're good enough to win them I don't know if they're championship level good yet, and I don't know if they'll even be able to get there. But Austin Reeves is a really good third option. Of course, Rui Hachimura was really good, and you keep Jackson Hayes away from maybe a Golden State. You get Gabe Vincent. I don't know how much of a improvement Gabe Vincent is from Dennis Schroeder, but I do think that the Lakers are a big winner. They spent smartly. And again, I don't know how the hell they're able to get half of these players, seeing as though they didn't have that much money to work with at all. And from what I've been told, I think they still have money. So I don't know, but they're definitely a winner. They were very active and they spent wisely. I think Gabe Vincent is a good. You need shooting, and Gabe Vincent did prove that he can shoot the ball. He's not the greatest shooter, but he did prove that he can shoot the ball. And you were able to do all that while retaining the most important asset that you could have retained, which is Austin Reeves. And apparently you got him at a discount. So shouts out to Austin Reeves. So I think that the Lakers is definitely a winner. Another winner has to be Bruce Brown. Think about this. You go from winning a championship and then getting the payday of I think 2 years, $30 million or something like that. Bruce Brown out of Miami, and you get it from the Pacers, obviously. And it's funny because this definitely this definitely affects um, the Denver Nuggets. Nobody would have thought that a player like Bruce Brown would have affected the Denver Nuggets. And I understand you have Christian Brown. I understand, some of the players that you have, Reggie Jackson, but that's not Bruce Brown. That's not Jeff Green. And they played vital parts and they were vital to the championship run. So I'm not saying that now Denver is not a championship caliber team. I mean, you still have arguably the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic, as well as Jamal Murray, but losing Bruce Brown definitely affects the Denver Nuggets. But Bruce Brown has to be a winner. They've been overpaying left and right. I'm just keeping it a bean. Fred VanVleet, who was a very hot commodity on the free agency market, got like 3 years, 130 or something like that. He got a max contract from the Houston Rockets. Do I think that Fred VanVleet is a max contract type player? Hell no. But I do think I understand what the Houston Rockets are doing. You want to bring a veteran into a locker room that is very young. I mean, when you have Jalen Green, when you have Sengun, like you have a very young roster. Now you have Cam Whitmore. You want to bring an adult, and they are. Fred VanVleet is the adult in the room. Now, yes, that is a very expensive adult, but I understand what they were doing. Fred VanVleet was probably one of the best free agents out there, and they secured him because they had like the most money to spend in free agency. So, Fred VanVleet and Bruce Brown getting, I think it was $30 million or $33 million, something like that, getting that from the Indiana Pacers is definitely a win. Definitely a win. I think the Clippers are a winner. The Clippers, you're able to bring back Russell Westbrook on a 2-year, like $8 million deal. You're able to bring back Mason Plumlee, and you're still kind of in the driver's seat and have a chance to get James Harden. I think that you have to consider that a winner. Now, of course, the championship window is ultimately surrounded by the health and the status of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And yes, Russell Westbrook definitely helps, but I don't think that he's changing the needle if, of course, either one of those players are not healthy. But I do think that think about it. You're able to retain Mason Plumlee. He doesn't go to another contender, and you're able to get Russell Westbrook. So even if you're unable to trade for James Harden, you still have a core three. Now, again, I don't know the ceiling of the core three, and I talked about this when I did the trios in the NBA. To me, a top 10 trio is just as a trio. I don't know how good they are because of the fit, but if you're talking about the individual players, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, they are damn good. So I do think that they're a winner. They're able to pretty much keep their team. They haven't really lost anybody. And again, I talked about this last episode. Shouts out to Bill Simmons doing like the one more shot team, or give it one more year. I think that that's where the Clippers are, especially when you see who they retained and how they retained them. I understand as a fan. I understand as a basketball novice or whatever I am, that it's getting kind of tiring hearing the whole if Kawhi Leonard was healthy, if Paul George was healthy, because they really never are in key situations, at least both of them. But we do know how talented they are. Like in general, we know how talented that team can be, especially with both of them. So I think that they are a big winner, being able to retain a Russell Westbrook, and being able to retain a Mason Plumlee, and still being in the running to trade for James Harden. So, another winner, of course, I have is the contracts that we're seeing. Like you saw Tyrese Halliburton getting a max contract. You see LaMelo Ball getting a max contract. You see Anthony Edwards getting a max contract. I think Sabonis got a max extension. I'm always for players getting their money. Trust and believe. Even if it's hell, I think that the Houston Rockets overpaid for Fred VanVleet. That's not Fred VanVleet's fault. Like, if you're gonna pay me that money, give it to me. I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like, what are you doing, Fred? I'm saying, hey, get your money, bro. I'm happy for LaMelo Ball. I'm happy for Anthony Edwards. These are franchise cornerstones. And if the franchise is able to build around that player, let me say this. Those players, like I said, Sabonis, LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, these players are good enough to build around. And I was shocked because the Tyrese Halliburton news came like after midnight. I was like, what? Am I reading this right? And I'm not saying that to say like he doesn't deserve it. I'm saying that like, Tyrese Halliburton is that good, especially for the Pacers. That is even though they're not really free agents, that is a winner to me. You know, players that was eligible for the extension max extension, getting the max extension. Yes, if you want to be one of those people and say that Karl-Anthony Towns is still the best player in Minnesota, I would say that you're drastically wrong. You're objectively wrong. Anthony Edwards is the best player in Minnesota, and the last thing you want to do is lose him or make him unhappy, because he is the the franchise player. I think there was a stat that went around, the most points scored by a player 21 and under. LeBron was number 1, KD was number 2, Melo was number 3, and Anthony Edwards was number 4. So Anthony Edwards is tough. I'll give you that. And then LaMelo Ball, we know how much the Hornets are invested in him and gave up for him. So I'm happy to see players get the money that they're deserved. Shouts out to again, I know it's not a free agency win, but it happened during free agency, and it's always a win when players get money, get paid. So, and I guess the last winner I'll say is the Phoenix Suns. And I was shocked with the Phoenix Suns because I think four players, KD, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and actually 5 players, DeAndre Ayton and Cameron Payne. I think 5 of those players already drastically put them over the cap. And you were able to go out and get an Eric Gordon, which was a big get for them in their bench. You're able to get keys, two centers. You're able to get Yuta Watanabe. Like, you're able to get some good quality bench players and build out that bench. Now, yes, you did lose Torrey Craig, but your bench is pretty solid. I don't know if they're players that can really change or move the needle. However, when you pair them alongside a KD, a Devin Booker, a Bradley Beal, they're incredible pieces. Like you have Aaron Gordon coming off the bench. And don't get me wrong, I don't think definitely Aaron Gordon, not the Aaron Gordon of old, but he is still a really good shot maker, and he's still one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. So I think that with the money that they were able to, or the money that they had and the money that they didn't have, and that is, of course, the Phoenix Suns, they built out their bench perfectly. And they're still going. So, and I'm interested to see what happens if I know they are pretty much on this, we're going to keep DeAndre Ayton tip, but DeAndre Ayton is pretty expensive. And if you can get somebody that has produced the same amount as him, I mean, at some point, the whole potential thing is like, are you going to reach or not? He's well past that point of, is he going to reach? I understand that Frank Vogel could get the best out of him, who was the new coach for the Suns. But I'm saying all that to say, I'm interested to see, are they going to trade him or not? Who knows? But yeah, the Suns did really good. The Suns have done really good this free agency, so I have them as a winner. And I'm not going to cheat. Okay, I understand that I said that the not free agents. I understand that I said, the contracts of Halliburton and Anthony Edwards, that was the winner. If I'm going to stick with strictly free agency, the last winner I'll say is the Milwaukee Bucks. If two of your four most important pieces were free agents and could have possibly went to another team. And of course, that was Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez. I think Brook Lopez is when you talk about the defensive structure of the team and how Brook Lopez has turned himself into a quality big and one of the best bigs in basketball, losing him would have been catastrophic for the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, I understand you have Giannis and you kept Jrue Holiday, but Brook Lopez unlocks something, or unlocks the defense and unlocks how your offense is run, which ultimately makes them a championship team, all out, as well as Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton, again, is the only player on that team that can really put the ball on the ground and get his own jump shot. Yes, Jrue Holiday has gotten better with that, and he is still one of the more underrated players in the league. But Chris Middleton is their offensive bread and butter. Yes, no. Giannis is obviously their best player, but their offensive weapon that they need is definitely Chris Middleton. So the fact that both of them were free agents, Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, and they were able to retain them, that's a win for me. That's definitely a win for me. You take a team that could have possibly found themselves out of the championship caliber conversation, now is solely in, or not solely, but for sure in still championship caliber team, because you retain Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton. So I think that my winners so far is the Lakers, Bruce Brown, the Clippers, Milwaukee, the Suns, and all the young players getting their max extensions. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.